From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter, a show about Star Wars pop culture and the ultimate adventure, life itself. Me, hey, I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Jen Landa.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
I'm trying to be authentic here on YouTube. And we are here for our Cues of the Force. This is our Questions of the Force episode, our Star Wars Questions episode. We get wonderful questions from our Patreon supporters. We pull them from Patreon, sometimes on Discord. I'll admit it. Well, I'm feeling a little lazy because I don't want to do the login switch on Patreon. Go to Discord. Just make it easier to switch accounts. That's all I'm asking. And we got two wonderful questions today. Music. We got a conversation coming our way about Rey and a lot more. But before we get to that, as always, I want to remind you that today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. We are currently recommending Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher. Great Star Wars author. Good follow on social media if you'd like to follow him there. Download your free audiobook today by going to audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. Again, that's audibletrial.com/ForceCenter for your free audio book. We do have an ask. I'm going to curveball. World Series is going on. Curveball. Jen, do you want to handle the ask?
Oh, all right. Well, guess what, guys? We have been asking for 415 patrons, at which point we would do a private live stream. The private live stream is happening because we reached our goal of 415. Now, let's hope that we not only stay there, but go up. So thank you all for joining us. But what are we going to do? We don't know what we're going to do yet.
Yeah.
It's going to be private. And not in a creepy way, like petting an Ewok. Did I take this too creepy?
No. I was going to go a deeper, but our ForceCenter Discord, man, they jumped on that one. They jumped on that. God bless you all on our Discord.
Maybe we should see how long we can keep our eyes open like Ewoks, and that'll be the whole live stream.
Oh boy, I wear contacts.
Yeah, the don't blink challenge.
Yeah, I will last 30 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to throw your suggestions down below. Why not? What we should do.
There you go. Love that. We are going to get to our questions here right now. We got our first question from Addie, the professor, is what we're going to call her around these parts. Addie Clark says this. Hello, ForceCenter. I've been doing a lot of writing for my job recently, and I listen to a lot of movie scores when I do this. Lately, I've been going to my, quote, May the 4th playlist of Star Wars scores, movies, and TV, and it got me thinking about all the great music we've been blessed with, and I'm curious, what's your favorite piece? I, myself, am biased to the main themes of the prequels, Duel of Fates, Across the Stars, Battle of the Heroes as my top 3. But gun to my head, blaster to my head, if I'm picking one to listen to continuously, it's going to be Confrontation with Count Dooku and Finale, less formally known as the end of Attack of the Clones. I love how it goes into a slow build of the Imperial March, seeing the Clone Troopers first time, to the Across the Stars theme for the wedding and the traditional main theme for the credits, and back into Across the Stars in more of its entirety. But it's the subtle ending that John Williams adds to Across the Stars, weaving back in the Imperial March, foreshadowing that this love story won't have a happy ending. That really gets me. So, what about you all? Specific tracks, character themes, yub-nub. She was listening to Subjective Wars on the way to work this morning. As she wrote this, that was our Subjective Wars battle on Victory Celebration versus Yub-Nub, a.k.a. Ewok Celebration. So, curious to hear your wonderful thoughts. And okay, back to writing. Addie, get back to work. Talking about music, it's a key part of Star Wars. I hear tell. It's a big part of Star Wars. Jen, do you have a favorite track or others, or show your math on how you get to that thought?
Yeah, non-canon would be Meko's disco version of the Star Wars main theme. I listen to it.
That.
Right? I listen to it often. I don't know why I can't ever get sick of it. But sincerely, what I really love listening to, which I had forgotten, so thank you, Addie, for reminding me, it is the Force Awakens soundtrack. The Rey's theme, the Jedi steps. It is wonderful music to work to craft to. And I had forgotten about that. I was listening to it often back in the day. And it is very much like reminiscent of like classical music, where it's motivating and it's thrilling to listen to, but it's not overpowering, right? Like you can still study and get stuff done. So yeah, that's my choice.
Look, that's a great one. Some of that might appear in my little mini Star Wars rank list here, but one of my favorite things of going back in time for my own personal Star Wars journey is sitting on the desk at the old Collider job and saying, I love The Force Awakens. I don't know, the music didn't stand out to me. I was an idiot. By the end of that week, I had been corrected in my own soul and head. It is just wonderful start to finish. Williams came back in a big way, so that's a great choice, Jen. Great choice. Joseph, I'm going to jump in with mine just because I want you to cook, man. I want you to cook on your answers.
I did make a list.
This is Addie's asking, what's your favorite piece of Star Wars music? And I think, and just in talking about it for years with you all here or just on other shows, it's like even in Why We Love Star Wars, I wrote about a couple pieces. Padme's Ruination being so big in my life, all that kind of stuff. But I try to look at this like, all right, kind of what Addie's doing, like when it comes on, because I don't sit and listen to a lot of movie scores. I know friends that do. My buddy Mark Riley, that's kind of all he listens to. He'll put on Superman. He'll put on Star Wars. And our friend Dorina, she's knows scores so well. I don't spend a lot of time with them, but it's like, so like, what are the Star Wars pieces that I love? Because I love the Star Wars music. But when they come on, I actually stop and listen to. Jedi Steps, the Force Awakens finale, Jen, is the first one that comes to mind. It's one of my favorite pieces of music. I've said for years, it was my alarm music on my phone until my fiance, my partner Grace, asked me to politely maybe change that because she liked the music, but was associating it with me waking her up. So she was like, I'd like to keep my joy of Star Wars around. So instead switched to a Game of Thrones, not the theme, but the one where Cersei destroys the church and drinks the wine. Great thing to wake up to, but a little loud. Anyways, but I love Jedi Steps. God, it's so good. It is so the story of this girl from nowhere climbing up into the story, into the place she never thought. And I can wax poetic about it if you want, but also it was great. It's just, I love that ending. I love that moment in time when you see that ending for the first time in Star Wars. I remember Patton Oswalt tweeting out, like, I think he's kind of was spoiling things, but like, this is the greatest ending of a Star Wars movie ever. So I love that. But putting that in stuff, there's other choices here. I do want to mention a classic Yoda's theme, something I've celebrated here. I call it the sound of enlightenment. It is comfort. It is home. It is education. It is learning. It is a wonderful joy, even when there's sadness. Even with what's going on in Luke and Last Jedi, when that theme and Yoda shows up, God, you just feel like you're in a safe spot. Love Yoda's theme, and I didn't always. Growing up, I don't think Yoda's theme was high on my list, but you mature into that. That's what I think. Here's the other two choices here. They're outside of the box, and they're a Star Wars story choices. Flying with Chewie. John Powell adapting and composing the solo score. Of course, John Williams did the Han's theme, which I think is great. That factors into the song. Flying with Chewie is, of course, most remembered, I think, in the movie when you just got that wonderful, they've escaped and they're flying, and Han and Chewie are kind of talking for the first time, and you got the great snowy landscape in front of them. It's a wonderful piece of music. That's only like 2 minutes and 10 seconds into a 3.5-minute song. Like the rest of it is... It works like a wonderful overture. You just feel like you're in a theater about to see Solo a Star Wars Story on Broadway, and the orchestra's playing. And the flying part is as magical as it is in the film when you're just listening to it. It's a journey, and every time that comes up, I know in my head, I'm like, oh, the part I love is only a little smidge of the song, but I invest in the journey to get there, and it's a great piece of music. My other one is Your Father Would Be Proud. Rogue One, Michael Giacchino, he's great. Just ask him. But I think his work here on a soundtrack that he had like weeks to put together, that whole story going back to 2016. The soundtrack, some people say, hey, there's not as many big familiar Star Wars themes, everything. I got it. I remember even having that discussion back in the day of good soundtrack, not Star Wars enough. And I might have been in that camp until one day I was working out. This music came up. Yeah, that's right. It's Pumping Iron. And I heard this, and I was like, what is this? I just had that, like, this is like 2017, 2018 range. I was like, what am I listening to? Why does it sound familiar? Oh, God. Yeah, it's from Rogue One. Oh, God, it's the ending. Oh, man, this is now one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars music. And I think it is very much Star Wars, and it is so sad. It's so hopeful underneath a lot of it. And anytime I hear this piece of music, I just want to watch Rogue One. I want to watch the ending. I want to watch Vader staring out as he's about to go kill Admiral Raddus. I want to watch the ends of Cassian and Jyn. I want to. It's so good. It's so good. Your Father Would Be Proud is one of my favorite pieces of music. That's my list, Joseph. I pass the baton to you.
Well, first, I just have many emotional responses to what you said, mostly about Rogue One. I really love the Jedi theme, the introduction. That always stood out to me. I've always thought that was good. I think the Rogue One score is great. I also love that the way it starts with just that sudden yes, and you just see the planet, and it really is like we're jumping you into the middle of the story, and the music just grabs you by the lapels and goes like, "We're not easing into this one. We're in. Let's go." This has nothing to do with music. I've always worked hard to accept that Raddus did not survive. However, I have never thought of it as Vader is staring out, having lost his true prize, and went, well, I guess I can go kill the fish guy at least. As a direct consolation prize for having lost the plans to the Death Star. Yeah. Painful. Very painful. Yeah. When Ken and I were doing a lot more episodes of Star Wars Ranked, I think I don't know if you did. I think you did this too, Ken. I don't think we ever discussed it. A way that I would work through the too numerous of choices was by trying to have a little bit of representation of the Star Wars pantheon of different, because like the biggest emotional attachment is probably going to be I could list all the themes from the original trilogy because I grew up with them, right? But the other ones hit me big too. So my number one would just always be Binary Sunset. Like it's kind of like I don't care if that's the most basic answer. I don't care if it's my favorite food is pizza. I don't care if it's I'm wearing the T-shirt at that band's concert. I don't care how basic it is. It's true. That is Star Wars to me. That is man, the roughest, most frustrating day in the discourse of Star Wars. Put on Binary Sunset, and it will reattach me to what I love. So that's just my number one at the top, and then I just picked a few from throughout the canon. One that I don't think gets celebrated as often from the original trilogy is the asteroid field.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the actual like on the soundtrack, it kind of begins with the march, but basically just goes into the kind of the thrilling adventure serial music of Han making the choice to go into the asteroid field and zigging and zagging, and I was so blown away to see that one live in the last John Williams concert I saw in I believe 2023. That was the one where John Williams didn't really have anything to promote, and he was just like, I'm playing whatever the hell I want. And one of the things he played was the asteroid field, and seeing the drums and seeing how those sounds that I've lived with for years were made. It's got a great sense of adventure and danger. I love it. Asteroid Field is great. Duel of the Fates is of course a true answer from the prequels, but I wanted to go somewhere a little different with prequels of something that I really love. I have tried to describe to musicians that I work with the music I want. And I say, I want, some of them crazy strings when a person's losing their mind. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, well, let me cue up the song Exacting Revenge from Attack of the Clones. It's the cue after Shmi has died, and it's very sad. And then it's just this, I think it's really, really inspired by Bernard Herrmann. I think it's inspired by music from Psycho and from Vertigo and from Hitchcock, that really sort of that inner, you've broken and you're not fully in control of your actions. It's just these quick, I don't think they're even strings, just these quick little sounds that I don't even have a good word for it. Just go listen on YouTube, Exacting Revenge, and you'll see what I mean. It's the sounds when Anakin is sad that his mom has died and then looks up broken, and there are those strings that sound like they're from Psycho or from Vertigo of this kind of mid 20th century. This is the music for someone has lost their mind and people are going to die. It's upsetting. It's not like a fun listen, but it's great music. From the sequel trilogy, Rey's theme has just always, I love the March of the Resistance. There's all sorts of great tracks. Kylo's theme is amazing, but Rey's theme is to me like the standout. All the different variations he gets out of it in Rise of Skywalker, phenomenal. But that first, just taking the time to meet Rey and with that soft, delicate, sad, but hopeful, powerful music, there's so much in it, and it's so different. Yeah, Rey's theme is phenomenal. And then to just go a little bit into the modern, I really do love Kenobi's theme. It's partially just because I'm in the tank for old Kenobi. But it is also just this great slow build. It has that sort of, it has that sadness. It has an isolation to it, and then it rebuilds back to hope of I can do this, and not sort of naive hope, but like, no, I still have strength. The old ways are true. I can do this. The song's so well constructed to do that. Final one, it'd be obvious for anybody who's listened for a long time. Give a shout out to the solo soundtrack in Chicken in a Pot.
Oh, yes.
The in-universe song from Lulio Primark and Arodia Ventafoli. The one from the extended solo track where Lulio Primark has a low voice, not a high voice, like he does in the normal soundtrack.
That's right. That's right. Controversy right there.
Controversy.
Great. No, wonderful answers. Asteroid Field, that's my buddy Mark Riley's favorite piece of music. He talks about all the time about why is this not discussed? This is one of the greatest pieces of all time in Star Wars. And
It's
I think
so
I was
good.
at that concert with you where I think I even texted Mark he's playing it. So good. Great answers there. On Addie's choices here, I love the finale of Attack the Clones. I have a really distinct memory of getting that compact disc before the movie came out. No Qui-Gon funeral to spoil anything for me, but I was listening to that music, and I just had this. I talked about it on the news show this week. I have this thing of like when new Star Wars is out there and I haven't seen it yet, I just I just go hog wild with my expectations and my joy and what are we gonna learn about the Star Wars saga now? And I just remember hearing that music, and I just pictured an ending that was not even close to what the ending was. Not even close to it, but just like, because that music's kind of, it's Dooku kind of coming back, and then, we know it now is, Jimmy Smith's Bail Organa Fist of Frustration and all these things playing at me. But I loved that piece of music. It really, especially in that era and coming out of Phantom Menace, where my relationship with that film was a little different than it is now, a lot different than it is now. I still was on board for new Star Wars, and it's John Williams understanding the assignment, as we've talked about on this channel before.
Jennifer, both Ken and I did a whole Star Wars ranked list. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I was just going to what I listen to now, right? Because I feel like I've listened to these for years. Binary Sunset is a favorite, but I was thinking about what is the most recognizable piece of Star Wars music? And some might say the main theme, but I would say no. I think it's the Imperial March because you can just hum that, and people know it is Star Wars. People might think the main theme could be Superman or any sort of superhero thing, but the Imperial March is just, and there you can have fun with it. Kids like it, and it's just there's something about it that
Kids like it, yeah, they do.
Kids like it,
I love the sounds of oppression stamping over the galaxy.
But there is something kind of cutesy about it. Dun, 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 right? So I don't know, but yeah, that one came to mind where I was like, I think that's like the most iconic piece of Star Wars music that permeates generations.
Yeah. I mean, whenever John Williams has done a concert where he's played no Star Wars music or one Star Wars things, and then it's the encore, and it's like, all right, here you go. It's always Imperial March that starts with, and it's a banger. I've been at the Hollywood Bowl where people are just stomping to Imperial March, and yeah.
Don't they kind of, they'll do the lightsaber bob too, if they got the lightsabers in their hands? Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Oh my gosh. That's great.
And I agree, Jen. I think, if you're really analyzing in terms of instantaneously, getting recognition, that's Star Wars. Yeah, I think that song is it. All right. There we go. We've discussed music. You got some choices? I'm sure you do out there if you're watching or listening. Let us know on social media, or if you're watching on YouTube, comment down below your favorite pieces of Star Wars music and why. We'd love to hear it. But for right now, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got some questions about Rey in the future. Stick around for more ForceCenter. Welcome back to ForceCenter, our Cues of the Force episode. Me, I'm Ken, Joseph, Jennifer, here in our virtual studio, answering Star Wars questions. And this one comes from our buddy, Kyrie Brady, a.k.a. 8984M, the most musical username we have. You've got to sing it like a Sesame Street song. 898-4M. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. No. Brady writes, in Star Wars, it is pretty common for our main characters to grow a beard as a symbol of wisdom, maturity, and even disillusionment. Definitely disillusionment for me. Of course, in the new Rey movie, when it happens, knock on wood, we here at ForceCenter believe it will, that costuming choice is probably not an option. With Ahsoka, her longer lekku seemed to be that symbol, while Leia's sequel costuming seemed to emphasize high collars and jewelry, especially Last Jedi On, which called back to her regal background. Obviously, Rey will be younger than the aforementioned characters in her journey. And besides the unlikely case that we get a bearded Rey, what costuming choices do you think could represent her maturity or possibly disillusionment there? Disillusionment. Jennifer, you spent a lot of time working on costumes. Joseph, you are making films and art and have spent a lot of time on costumes. I've been in some sketches. So I'll lean on you go here. Jen, where do you go with this?
Obviously, I think she's going to have maybe like a longer robe of some sort, right? Potentially. A change in hairstyle, of course. I would hope that it still remains an updo because that's much more practical. And that's kind of what I was thinking about. I don't want her to be stuffy. I don't want her to be General Leia. I mean, Daisy really is going to be in her 30s when this gets made. She's young. Give her something young that she can fight in and kick ass. Oh, I just said a bad word.
That's not a bad
kick
word.
Butt in. Well,
kick
you know what I
is
mean.
totally acceptable. Oh, the other one. Okay, no,
kick butt in. Kick the bad guy. Okay, so anyways, yeah, I want her in something that's not stuffy.
There's no Hays code here. There's no comics code, Jen. Just
I never curse, so that's kind of funny that came out because I'm pumped and I want them to. I know that they're going to do a great job with her costume, and cosplayers are going to be looking at these references and wanting to copy it. But I do want it to be a younger version of something showing wisdom. How do you do that? Balance youth with wisdom. I don't know, but
yeah. No, these are great answers. Yeah, hair is one of the first places to go. I was, does she get a shortcut? Does that sometimes there's that age, late 20s, you get the long hair. Oh, you're 30. I'm gonna cut my hair short. I got a Florence Pugh look here. Something like that could work. No, great stuff there. Joseph, where do you go with this one?
I want to research bangs in Star Wars, thinking about haircuts.
Bangs, yes.
Yeah, yes. I don't know. Right? That's a thinker.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, I think the costume, what is she going to look like? How's it going to reflect her growth is great. But also, 8984M is building into this question the idea of, are we looking at just maturity or disillusionment? Ken and I did a subjective awards about who had the better beard between Luke and Obi-Wan, and we really tracked their emotional progress between, like, a neatly trimmed beard is, maturity. A scraggly beard is everyth's gone to bleep.
Thank you for noticing.
Right. I want my bias is I want her to be. Obviously, I want her to have a conflict. I want her to have a challenge, but I want her to kind of have the challenge of a mentor of how do I not fail these kids? How do I move them, help them not have to go through some of the challenges that I did? And I'm worried about letting them down. So I want her to be like solid, mature, not being a Jedi sucks. And maybe I shouldn't have even done this. And,
She sounds like you got her at a truck stop going, you want to talk about the Jedi? I'll talk about the Jedi.
Yeah, right. I don't want her to be like please fire me. I thank you. I don't want her to be like that. I want her to be like, I'm on the right path. Yeah. So what I was thinking for her maturity is, I love her always being a little bit connected to her beginnings on Jakku. So something in the sort of white to light gray to weathered still in there. But I would love it if she did have some outer robes or some different robes that got in some earth tones, some dark greens, some subdued oranges. Got to be careful to not make her look like a kitchen from the 70s. But I think not the sort of brown, tan, really, really standard, but a little bit of like, hey, I grew up in a bland, blank place. And now I've been all over the galaxy. Now I am, like it or not, an important figure in the galaxy, and a little bit of an expression of being more well-traveled. And all those colors of the galaxy that she was so shocked to see in Force Awakens are now a part of who she is. Don't want to see her coded as jaded, and I don't want to see her as coded as morally gray. Just like grounded, wiser, well-traveled.
Look, first of all, the avocado green and creamsicle orange of our childhoods. I think one grandparent in each family had that kitchen.
I'm talking super dark green, no avocado.
But it's not far off from Gus Tour's helmet. So
no.
Maybe she's inspired by Gus Tour's. I love what you're saying. Yeah, I don't want to see too much of a down and out Rey. I do like. I'm saying I like this, but the idea of if there is a sense of she has a bigger sense of responsibility, has taken it on. She is that. She maybe has to by the time we meet up with her, has had to play a little politics, had to kind of be there's field Rey and desk Rey, and maybe desk Rey is a little frustrating, and that there's something part of the outfit that is adding not putting on airs, but just all right, this is a little more mature look. This is more there's some flowing things. Who knows? But then at one point I want it to be revealed that her pants still don't go down to her feet. She's still got action ankles ready to go. She's ready to kick ass. She's ready to that's still who she is. And she can get back to that or add that into the complete picture, as opposed to, like you saying, Joseph, I don't want to be like another day of filling out paperwork in the damn new Republic. We're adding a cop drama to the story, but and having some fun. But you know what I mean? Like I want something to reflect where we're picking up, and that this movie could be about her going forward as a more complete picture as she faces some of these obstacles. And then bangs. That sounds good.
You know what I would love? Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I want to be clear that I'm not advocating for bangs. I was just fascinated to think about the possibility.
Yeah. You know what I would never get bangs. My sister had bangs for a long time, but I struggle with that. You know what I would love to see? That's not costume, but it's more about like her life, what she's built. I want to see her home. I want to see lots of books and like jars, like a witch's apothecary, I want to see her like have created this and see all the details of her life. Maybe she has a piece of jewelry that has some sort of significance, very I don't know, something more like Lord of the Rings style. You know what I mean? Like a little cave. And like you're talking about, Joseph, these like earth tones and like these emerald greens and maybe some cool fabrics. I would love that. Yeah. I don't know if because Star Wars doesn't really go into that area so much, but boy, that would be so cool.
Yeah, newer, brighter colors in Star Wars definitely bring opinions, whether they be on speeders or even I was 2014 was a little dubious about the bright colors in Rebels. Like, what they got oranges and yellows? I don't know, And so I apologize to the Ghost crew for that, but I know what you mean, Jen. And I like this little Hobbiton kind of hovel you might you're pitching here. In the big white, does it have a Ben corner? Is there a something? Something.
Han's blaster, in a place of honor. Yeah.
Bookshelf, like a collectible.
A Han Solo shadow box. I got his figure in there. It's carded, and then his blaster.
Yeah. I think, speaking of figures, I think there is also, I grew up with the. You got Hoth Luke. I actually didn't have Hoth Luke, but then you have Luke in Bespin fatigues, and then you had they never made him at the ceremonial, his ceremonial outfit at the end of Yavin in the original Kenner run. I would love to actually have it make sense in the narrative to see her in more than one outfit.
Oh yes,
right. I would love if it is like it. We start in the underwater mission, and she's got her aqua gear or whatever, or she does. She's off on her own doing her own Jedi thing, but people are trying to cause trouble for the Jedi, and she gets called in and does have to have her "I'm addressing the Senate" wear, right? Her formal Jedi wear. Like, man, I know people will always cry capitalism. My response is always or money grab. George Lucas did not start a nonprofit in 1977. It's fun to see characters in different outfits because they reflect different environments. They reflect different needs of the characters, different experiences they're having. And you get to have the fun of, I want my action figure of Rey in answering to the Senate garb, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't. It's not a criticism for me, but yeah, the sequel trilogy had a lot of this was their outfits. And look, I'm someone who switched to all black. Yeah, Joseph, I know it's convenient. It's good. It's easy.
Convenient.
I go to my closet. I know what I'm wearing today. But yeah, I would have some more variety in all the characters, and occasionally, jacket change or something like that. Totally cool. But Rey, specifically Rey, would like to see more sides, and in a movie that is going to be presenting all sides of this character in theory. That makes a ton of sense.
I want to see her pajamas. I want Rey pajamas.
Sassy Dooku pajamas? Yeah.
Yeah, like what is she? Yeah, I want to know. I want lots of outfit options.
Yeah, he has exquisite pajamas, so I think she would have super comfy pajamas.
Yeah.
I love everything you're saying, though, because home is going to be important to her. Home was rough growing up, right?
Yeah, I want to see that.
How much is she going to lean into the sort of austerity of the Jedi of old, and how much is she going to say, like, no, home is important. You need to have a space you feel comfortable and grounded in. So everybody is welcome to decorate their huts.
Yes, Yoda's hut was important. There's something else about like cooking, like the hominess, the comfort. Like I want to see that in Star Wars. I want to crawl in that bubble.
I like it. I want to see weekend ready Rey. Glasses on, hair up, sweatpants, watching cartoons in the morning, just taking a weekend off. I want to see personal time Rey. That's the figure I want.
Rey and personal time fatigues.
Great question, 8984M. Looking forward to this movie. We talked about the news of it earlier in this week and the change of the writers and everything. We're not particularly worried here. When this movie comes out, when it comes out, will be fine for us. We're just excited for it to explore this character in another way, and outfits will be it. So there you go. Any final thoughts, Jen? Are you ready to cosplay as weekend ready Rey?
I will appreciate the wonderful cosplayers who can sew really well because they're going to come up with some great replicas that are screen accurate. I'll use some craft foam to do my best.
There you go. There you go. All right. That's it for this week's Star Wars questions. We appreciate your questions. Thanks for asking, Brady. Thanks for asking, Addie. You can find us on social media at ForceCenter Pod. We're highlighting Blue Sky and Threads. Also on Instagram. Facebook page is ForceCenter Podcast. As a podcast, we are available in a lot of spots. Just search. You'll find us. That includes our Sunday re-releases of our Databank Brawl series. They're podcasts only. Check those out. Merch available at tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. And also on Fourth Wall, link on the YouTube page there. Patreon.com/ForceCenter, so we can support us directly. And thank you to those that have helped us reach our latest goal. Follow me at Ken Napzok, or go to my website, kennapzok.com for more. Jennifer, where can they find you and your foam? Your costume
my craft foam.
Craft
exactly.
Foam.
Yes, my Halloween foam can be found on all the social media at Jennifer Landa or TikTok at Jennifer Landa 1138.
There you go. Joseph, take us home with all that you're doing and where they can support you and your film project.
Yeah, you can find me on all the social media at Joseph Scrimshaw. You can go to my website, josephscrimshaw.com, which has links to all the film stuff I'm doing. Recently released the short film that I made called The Nightmare Adorable with many amazing people, Ken included. People have been celebrating some of Ken's lines, which got a good response in every live screening I saw of The Nightmare Adorable. I am going to be busy working on a feature-length film called Dead Media. I could still use some help closing some fundraising gaps. So if you wanted to help support the film, I have a partnership with an organization called Film North that can take one-time tax-deductible donations. Information on that on my website as well. Thank you all for all of your generosity over the years to ForceCenter and to our individual projects. Do not take it lightly.
Same. Absolutely. Appreciate it all here. You ForceCenter friends are wonderful. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.